All right, what's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be going over the news as promised. Spoiler alert, obviously these running backs did not get their deals done. It looks like they're going to be forced to sign the franchise tag or hold out, which I don't think is really quite an option for some of these guys. So it's not much of an option to hold out, and if they do, it's not going to benefit them in the long run in terms of their career, and either getting a new deal the next year or just in terms of progressing their career as a football player. So it's not a good thing to see this, obviously, if you're one of these running backs, or if you're another running back that's still in the league who's looking forward to being in these guys' position to where you are negotiating a new deal for yourself in your second contract. But we're going to dive into that momentarily. So let's let me see here. Let me jump into the news desk here. And then let me update my little comments thing right here real quick, and then we will jump into each piece of news. All right, so we got that on there. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into so obviously I don't have this one up, but Jahmyr Gibbs comes to terms on his rookie deal. I believe he's getting a little more than about 4.4 million per year. It doesn't really announce the details of his contract on Fantasy Pros, but I think he's getting a little more than 17 million over the course of 4 years. So if you do the math, he's getting about a little more than 4 million per year, on an annual salary for him. Let's go ahead and jump into Tony Pollard here. Tony Pollard. So this is from Jesse Garcia, Cowboys correspondent here on Fantasy Pros. Tony Pollard and Dallas Cowboys do not reach a long-term extension before the 4 p.m. deadline. We kind of knew this. We didn't think Pollard was going to get anything. Pollard's kind of in a prove-it year this year, now that Zeke is gone. So Pollard wasn't really a candidate to get a long-term deal as far as these running backs go when you mention him with Barkley and somebody like Josh Jacobs. So there's kind of no surprises here. This is Adam Schefter on Twitter is where they got this information. So no surprises here, though. So Fantasy Impact, Pollard will now play the 2023 season on a franchise tag and becomes a free agent in 2024. 26-year-old running back is coming off a season where he tallied 9 rushing touchdowns, over 1,000 yards on 193 carries. Pollard currently ranks as running back 9 in the ECR, which is the consensus rankings according to Fantasy Pros. Which, yeah, that's their rankings. But no surprises here. Pollard was going to sign the franchise tag. He's going to play. You don't have to worry about Pollard holding out or missing training camp at all this year. It's going to be a different case, obviously, when we get to Saquon and Josh Jacobs. So, Pollard, I think, is going to start to slide down to the 3rd round potentially. He's been kind of going late second round. Every now and then he will go. You might catch him going in like the middle of the 2nd round, maybe a few weeks ago. I don't know about now, but I'm starting to see Derrick Henry coming up into the 2nd round, and I think Pollard is going to be the beneficiary to slide down into the 3rd round because of that. And there's going to be opportunities for people to go get Pollard in the 3rd, in round 3 if they choose to, in some of these the best ball drafts. So, am I drafting Pollard in round 2? I wasn't really taking him much in round 2. I haven't really taken him much at all this year in general, whether it's round 2 or round 3. It's tough because where I kind of value Pollard is if he would slide like to the middle, the middle of round 3, kind of towards the end of round 3 is kind of where I would want to take him, but he never gets that far. So I don't really find myself taking him too often. All right, let's go over the next piece of news. Let's go Barkley first. So Obviously, according to Mike Garofalo of NFL Network, running back Saquon Barkley and New York Giants failed to reach an agreement on a long-term deal before the deadline today, setting up Barkley to play under the franchise tag. Barkley will play under the franchise tag, okay? I don't want anybody to get twisted out there about him holding out. I do think he's going to take a little bit of time before he comes to training camp, maybe. I believe the veterans, I'm trying to think of when the veterans report to training camp. I want to say it's like towards the end of this week. The rookies are going to training camp today and tomorrow for most teams. I believe there's actually a couple of teams that don't do a week prior for their rookies. They actually have everybody come all at once. There's a few teams that do that, but most of the teams have their rookies come to training camp like a few days prior than the veterans. So I'd have to look here. Let me see if I can find it real quick about the training camp dates. They should have it on here on ESPN still, I believe. Maybe. Let's see if I can find their articles here. Articles. Let me go to their articles real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna find this real quick so I can give you guys this information. Can I make it just? I'm trying to make it just for the NFL, but see if I can like filter it. Maybe if I look it up on Google, it'll take me to it. But basically, look, Barkley's he's probably going to hold out a little bit to a degree. And he's going to miss maybe a little bit of training camp, which is a little bit concerning. You know, if you want to draft this guy, because I don't like drafting guys that miss training camp. You look at like Debo last year. We even went over the article a few weeks ago over Debo about not putting, you know, the kind of play that he had last year on tape ever again. Remember, he was going through his contract dispute last year with the Niners, and he had credited that dispute, basically reason for him missing training camp and this and that, for why he kind of played kind of bad last year. And don't get it twisted, guys, and it doesn't matter what some of these guys are doing outside of training camp and other team activities. If they're not at team activities, you know, I'm not a fan of that, because the history tells us that these guys, whenever they miss time, like in training camp or in the off season, especially training camp, which was like right before the preseason, it doesn't bode well for a lot of these guys, and they end up getting, you know, they pick up like a small injury, or some of them, you know, especially with running backs, you never know. You know, the ACL is always a concern of a guy turning his ACL or his MCL, LCL. And so I'm not a fan of it. And on top of this, I went over this 2 days ago. I even went over it, I think, a little bit yesterday. On top of it, though, these guys, Barkley and Jacobs, these guys are I'm gonna pull it up once again so we can go over it real quick. For those of you guys who missed it, these guys were 1 and number 3. They were number 1 and number 3 in total touches last year. So here, once again, these guys, here's Jacobs right here. Number 1 in total touches, 393. Barkley, 352, number 3. We went over basically the decline over the years. Right here. The decline over the years of guys who had 340 total touches or more. At 346, Murray, 350. And really, the only guys to really kind of survive either injury or even a significant decline in total touches the next year were Zeke. It was Zeke and you know, the 1 year for Todd Gurley, but even Todd Gurley, you know, he only survived it 1 year, and this is when these guys were in year 3, year 4. Najee kind of survived it to a degree last year, but Najee still wasn't a very good fantasy running back last year. Compared to where he was being drafted. So if you took him in the first round last year, or even the second round, he didn't pay off that price tag. So, you know, you basically see the decline or the injury of these guys who had those kinds of touch, you know, those 340 plus touches, total touches that year prior. It doesn't bode well for them the next year. And then if you factor that on top of a guy who's not motivated to play, like Josh Jacobs, he's not motivated to play for the Raiders. Barkley's obviously going to be a little bit unhappy with his having to sign the franchise tag. And if they miss training camp on top of this, especially Jacobs probably missed all of training camp. I think Barkley will eventually go back. He's probably going to miss a few days, maybe a week, but eventually he's gonna sign. He's gonna show up. Jacobs, on the other hand, is a wild card. We have no idea. He's really unhappy with which he should be. You know, he should be unhappy considering that you know, he was the #1 leading rusher last year. You know, he's done fairly well really over the stretch of really the last 3 years. If you take out his rookie year, he hasn't been too bad. So, you know, you factor these total touches and how next year they are basically going to decline, basically based off of you know, you can pretty much predict they're going to decline based off what we've seen over the years. And these guys aren't in year 3 or year 4 anymore. Jacobs is going into year 5. Barkley's going into year 6. Barkley's also had an injury history. So, I mean, like I said, going back to 2018, Barkley, #2 in total touches right here. Let me highlight this. #2 in total touches, and he was the #1 running back in fantasy PPR that year, and he even had a 23.5% decline the following year. That was when he was a rookie going into his second year, and he was fresh with relatively no injury history at all in the NFL. He's got 352 total touches last year, just like his rookie year. Now he's going into year 6. He has injury history. He may miss some training camp time. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see on that. But if that's the case, I'm kind of staying away, man. I'm staying away at the price tag. I think I have 1 share of Barkley this year on pretty much all of my Underdog fantasy. And look, I think Barkley's good. I think he can provide fantasy this year, but I don't think he's going to provide what we would expect. Especially with all this stuff going on, with this circus going on, basically, and looking at, like I said, these guys are tough to trust right here. These guys that are over that 340 total touches mark are tough to trust. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle, and so let's go back to the news here. Let me type this in real quick for the training camp dates. So, yeah, the rookies report July 18th through the 26th. So that's starting tomorrow. See, but for like the Steelers, the rookies report the same day the veterans do. Same thing for Philly, which is the 25th. So really, you know, July 25th and the 26th are kind of the main dates for veteran dates for training camp, but the rookies go in usually about a week early, depending on the team. Like Seattle, the rookies and the veterans start on the 25th, so they both start the same day. But some of these other teams, the rookies report a week early. So like the Saints, the rookies report tomorrow, and then the veterans report next Tuesday. So let me see, New York Giants. So 25th. So the rookies report tomorrow for the Giants. The veterans report next week. So we'll see if Barkley shows up next week. You know, Vegas. Let's look at Vegas. 25th once again. So Jacob should be there the 25th, but I'm guessing he's not going to be. So Let's hop into Jacobs real quick. Jacobs, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, running back Josh Jacobs and the Las Vegas Raiders did not come to a long-term agreement ahead of their deadline, which was today. So Jacobs, man, he's a little bit more of a wild card than, say, like Pollard. Like Pollard, we know he's going to sign the franchise tag. He's going to play. Barkley, I would presume he's going to sign the franchise tag. It's just a matter of when. I do think he will sign it and he will play. It's not going to be very smart for him to sit out this year. And it's not going to be very smart for Jacobs to sit out this year either. We go back and we look at, like, Melvin Gordon sat out. Le'Veon Bell sat out a whole year and it derailed his career. He did get the money. He did get the contract that he was looking for, but he only played 1 year with the Jets and they got rid of him. He came to my Chiefs the very next year. They ended up trading him away, I believe, getting rid of him. So this isn't you know, these running backs, yeah, are they due kind of what they're supposed to be paid? I would say so, but you know, I understand from the team's perspective as well about not giving these guys a long-term deal. You got to think these running backs only have a shelf life for so long, and we know that. Everybody knows it. And Jacobs is going into year 5. Barkley's going into year 6 now. So their best bet is to play this year, sign the franchise tag, play as well as they can, try to stay healthy, try not to get overused, try to stay healthy. I mean, they're also going to have to try to help their teams win. Obviously, Barkley is on a little bit more of a competitive team, in my opinion, than the Raiders will be. The Raiders are going to be dreadful. I think Jacobs knows that, you know, and I can understand, like, look, I just had the best career, or, you know, I just had the best year of my career last year. I was the rushing leader. I want my money, because after this year, he knows, and I know, and everybody else knows, and I've showed you guys this, but I guarantee you he knows that, like, it's gonna be tough for him to put something like this right here that he did last year on tape and on paper. It's going to be tough for him to do something like this again 2 years in a row. I mean, we can go back and look at, we can really cut it down here. Let's go to the guys. Let me take this off real quick. Let's look at the guys who got 380 or more. 380 or more. So, missed the season right here. And this is just over the last like 7 or 8 years. Zeke defied the odds, obviously, but Zeke was also in year 3 going into year 4. Jacobs is a year ahead of him technically at this point. McCaffrey injured. Derrick Henry got injured. Like, even though this is a minus 40.5% decrease in total touches the next year, that was because of injury. He played those 8 games, and he was off to a really good start for those 8 games, and then he got injured. I just highlighted the wrong thing. Oh. So Derrick Henry, this is minus 40.5% decline in total touches the next year, but this was basically injury. This is like slash injury. Najee Harris, he had the Liz Frank injury to a degree, but these guys, we got question marks. We're not sure, but like, Najee was not the same running back last year. He just wasn't. He wasn't the same running back as what he was his rookie year. He didn't get the ball dumped off as much to him as what he did when, his rookie year. Ben Roethlisberger was dumping him the ball left and right, so you got to factor that in. So his touches obviously declined a little bit in that way as far as the receiving game goes. but he wasn't the same guy. He was not the same running back. He had to Liz Frank at the beginning of the year, which kind of threw all of us for a loop for the most part, if you drafted him to a degree, because they were kind of withholding that information to the public. It seemed like they didn't let us know until it was like too late. And then we found out he was playing with a plate in his shoe. We didn't find out that until like late in the year, and it was like, okay, you guys could have told me that like week 1 or week 2. He only had an 18% decrease, but he went from being the number 3 running back to number like 14 in PPR, depending on obviously your format. But he had a decline. He had a decline where he cost you probably, he probably cost you in fantasy last year if you took him in round 1 or round 2. So the thing is that I don't think Josh Jacobs is Zeke. I don't think he's Zeke. Zeke in year 3 was a different animal. Zeke in year 1 was a different animal. Even in year 4, he was obviously pretty good. And I don't think Josh Jacobs' talent is anywhere near what Zeke's was. And I think he's going to be hard pressed to come back another year after 393 total touches. I can't stress this enough. This is a ton of touches last year. These are the kind of year, like this year he had is the kind of year that a running back has that just, they almost empty the tank out, and you maybe never see them recover from something like this. Only the good ones really do. And then like usually if you look at the data here, even if a running back does recover from this and they come back and have another year like this, it usually takes them a year off. They have to have a year off. So if you look at McCaffrey, for instance, so he had the 403 touches. He got injured, okay, and then we didn't really hear for. I think he got a little bit of an injury in 2021, but then this year he came back and got 329. Stayed healthy. It took him a couple years basically to get his health back and to be a injury-free back for an entire year and provide in fantasy. Number 2 in fantasy points last year, PPR. He didn't quite tote the line of 340 total touches. He was just under it. But we can go back and look at some other guys too. Like, let me see here. I know there's some other guys here. I'm looking. Hold on. There's more examples of this. Derrick Henry's obviously one of them. Henry, he had his right here. He had this one, the minus 40.5% decrease in total touches next year. Had the injury, right? Here he is. He had the injury. Once he got over the injury, though, had less of a load of the year prior. He only had 237 total touches, and then he was able to provide this past season. So it took him a year. So a lot of these guys, whenever they provide, they'll provide 1 year, and then the next year they'll get hurt, or they'll have a decrease in total touches because it takes them basically a year of I wouldn't say a year off, but it takes them a year to kind of not provide, and then the very next year, like in year 3, they can come back to being kind of that number 1 running back. And so I want to say Chubb was kind of the same way, I want to say, for 1 year. So here it is, like Chubb. So Chubb his rookie year, he had 212 carries, blah blah blah. His rookie year, he wasn't really used as much as what he is, the last few years, but he had a 57.5% increase in total touches, right? So here he goes, boom, 334 total touches. Well, then he ended up having, I think, a little bit of an injury here in 2020, if I'm correct. 38.5% decrease the next year. So then he finished with just over 200 total touches back in 2020. So he had to basically take a year off. He had a really good year right here, and then the next year he came back down to earth because it probably took a toll on his body. He had almost 340 total touches that year in 2019. So then he had the injury come up, in 2020. He still finished inside the top 20 as far as total touches go, but it was almost 130 less. And then he was able to vault back up in 2021, to a degree. Of course, he was still sharing time with Kareem Hunt at this point as well. But he had a 20% increase from 2020 to 2021. So, and even this, look at this. He stayed under 250 total touches 2 years ago, and he was able to get another 32.5% increase in total touches into last year. And so, like Chubb, you can maybe expect Chubb to maybe have a little bit of a down year this year because he's had 2 progressive years in a row. How much of a toll is that taking on his body? These running backs can only take so much, man. And this is why the contract dispute between these running backs and their teams, this is why they are the way they are. The shelf life is only so long for some of these running backs, and really the only ones that really survive it for the most part are the uber talented guys, and I don't know if I would throw somebody like Josh Jacobs in that category. I think he's good, but he's not Barkley. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Bijan. He's not like a super talented running back. He's good, but he's not those guys. He's not Zeke. Okay? And on top of it, with the market the way that it is right now with some of these other running backs, like Barkley not getting his money, especially if Barkley's not going to get his money, Jacobs isn't going to get his. Even though Jacobs had the year that he had last year, they're not going to do it, man. And really, I don't know what Barkley was being offered. They were saying like 15, 16 mil, or I want to say like 15 mil a year, somewhere in that ballpark. Or 15, 16 is like what he wanted, and I think they were trying to give him like somewhere around 14. He probably should have taken it. Now he's looking at 10.1 for the franchise tag, and he's gonna have to hope he stays healthy, because if he doesn't stay healthy, he may not, if he explores free agency after this year, after making 10.1 and he didn't stay healthy, he's not going to see probably the money that the Giants were offering him this contract period. So, he's going to have to probably look back and live with that mistake if that ends up happening. He's going to have to look back and be like, man, I should have taken what they offered me back in July of 2023. But I understand these guys want more, man. I think Jacobs and Barkley have both earned what they were probably wanting to get, but the NFL can recycle these guys so quick because their shelf life is so bad, as far as because of the injuries that occur, within their position so frequently. It's going to be tough. Even if Breece Hall balls out, I think the next 2 years, or does pretty good in year 2 this year, does pretty good year 3 and year 4, I think Breece Hall is going to be in the same situation as these guys are probably when it comes to trying to get a new contract, because he had that injury back last year. So it's tough, man. It's tough for these guys. I don't know how you fix it, and the franchise tag is in place for these guys to get a little bit of value for 1 year. That's what the franchise tag is kind of for. But, and I understand they don't want the franchise tag because they want a long-term deal. But it just, it is what it is. And that's basically what Barkley said. It is what it is. Yeah, these guys, so these are our guys right here, I think that Barkley is going to come back. He's going to sign a franchise tag. He's going to come to training camp at some point, I believe. I'm hoping he doesn't sit out the full training camp. If he sits out full training camp, I'm not going to draft him at all. I mean, I'm not really drafting him much at all anyways, but I would be really, really skeptical if I'm an owner of him, if I'm you guys. You know, if any of you guys out there have this guy as your, you know, one of your main running backs, I would be maybe looking to try to trade him before it's too late. Because guys that miss training camp, that are coming off of, once again, coming off of a season like this, where they had this many total touches the year prior, it is not good. It's not good, man. And Barkley has a little bit of an injury history. He had that knee injury a few years ago, and it took him basically it took him all of 2021 really to get over it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Jacobs, on the other hand, I'm telling you guys right now, and I've been telling you guys the last few days, stay away from Jacobs at all costs. Stay away from him. Don't take him. Don't take him, especially if he sits out all of training camp. And you know, who knows? He may sit out the season. I doubt it. I wouldn't think he would do that. If he does, it's not going to be good. And if you have this guy in Dynasty, or if you have this guy in a keeper league, and he locks into your keeper before you can get rid of him, and then you find out he's sitting at you're going to be so far behind the 8 ball because you're not going to be able to trade him. You're just going to have to eat it, basically. And he's just going to sit on your bench, or you're going to have to drop him. Some people will probably end up dropping this guy. So if you have this guy in Dynasty, or like, let's just say you're doing your draft, like, I don't know when people are doing their drafts. I don't do my drafts until literally the week of. I have 3 main leagues that I'm in. One's an auction league. The other 2 are redrafts. We do them literally the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the Thursday night game. But there's other people who draft like during the preseason. There might even be people drafting right now, like right now through training camp. If I'm one of you guys who are drafting there, I am not drafting Jacobs. And if it turns out he is missing all of training camp, he doesn't show up for training camp at all, and then he doesn't sign his franchise tag till the last minute, I'm still not drafting him if that's the case, and I'm really staying away from him, because guys who miss training camp, that once again, if you factor him missing training camp on top of the bad team that he plays for, that he doesn't want to play for, that he has no motivation to go play for, on top of this number right here, 393 total touches, that is like as big of a red flag that you can have, basically, on a guy going into that season, especially at this position. He is going to get hurt. He's going to have a significant decline in production just in general, because it's going to be hard for him to replicate what he did last year when you consider the second hardest strength of schedule of any team, a bad quarterback that they replaced with a decent quarterback that they had last year. Now they have a bad quarterback. They still have a bad head coach in Josh McDaniels, who sucks. He sucks at being a head coach. These guys are not going to be super competitive, I don't think, in hardly just about any game. You know, they're going to have a couple that are competitive, but for the most part, they're not going to be super competitive. They're not competing for a playoff spot. They're not even they're going to be lucky if they're competing for third place in the division. They're probably going to finish last. So you factor all that in with him missing training camp and this kind of production that they had last year. He's coming back down to earth this year. He's coming down. And there's a reason why he goes in round 3. He's been going in round 3 all off season, dating back to early May, even late April. He's always been being drafted in round 3. A guy like this should be going in round 1 based off of what he did last year, but people know that he's probably not going to be able to produce the same way, and he's on a terrible team. Now you factor in this contract situation, you factor in him probably missing training camp. It's not a good sign for Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs is a complete stay away from me. You know, Barkley, I'm kind of staying away from him as well, but I would obviously take Barkley over Jacobs in a heartbeat if I had to choose between the two. If I can get Barkley in like round 3, I can maybe get on board a little bit. If I can get him like middle of round 3, maybe even the end of round 3, we'll see where he drops based off of this news coming down the pipe, and maybe if he misses a little bit of training camp here, he's going to start sliding down everybody's draft board. So Pollard, I can get on board with Pollard if he is in the middle of round 2, or not middle of round 2, like middle of round 3. It's going to be tough, man, because Breece is there. Stevenson is better than all of these guys, and Stevenson's right there in the mix with all of these guys where they're going to be falling to as far as their draft spot is. So I'm taking Stevenson over all 3 of these guys all day, every day, twice on Sunday. And you know, Henry's starting to come up in the round 2. You got Breece Hall right there as well, and I really like Breece. I know he's coming off that injury, but if we start getting some better news, which I think we will, look out for Breece Hall news here coming up in the next few weeks about him just being absolutely full ready to go. I'm taking Breece over these guys too, probably, and he's right there in the same round as them, and so I almost can't get past it. And you might even be better off punting like running back, like let's say you get Bijan or Eckler or whoever in the first round, or even if you get Nick Chubb in round 2 or whoever, you might just be better off going a receiver or a quarterback in rounds 2 and 3, which is where these guys fall, and then you can go get Dobbins and Akers and some of these other value running backs later in the draft. You might be better off going that route in terms of draft strategy. So that is what you know, that's what I'm thinking as far as all this news coming down today. Look, this isn't anything new. We kind of knew this was going to happen. I did think there was a chance Barkley got something done today. And really, he could have got something done if he would have just taken what the Giants were giving him, which I'm guessing is about $14 million a year, somewhere in that ballpark. My guess is he was wanting about 16, and in today's market, dude, they're not going to give you that. They're just not going to. He should have taken the 14 or 13, whatever it was. You know, and maybe we would have to see what the full contract was being offered. Maybe there were some holes in the contract that he didn't like, which is understandably so. You know, if that was the case, I could understand maybe him saying no to that. But if that was not the case, and even if there was incentives on top of everything as well, I would have to think he probably should have taken it. So he's going to have to play under the franchise tag this year, and he will, I believe. I don't think he's going to hold out. It's not going to be smart if he does, and he's just going to have to stay healthy, explore free agency next year, and maybe he gets a deal. I really hope that's what happens. I hope that's the case for Barkley. I still think his total touches are going to come down this year compared to what they were last year, which means the production may not be quite as well. He's going to have to be efficient with his touches this year if he wants to produce similarly, you know, very, very similar to what he did last year. He's going to have to be very efficient with his touches in order for it to happen. So all right, so that's all we're going to go over today. Let's jump into a draft. Let's jump into a draft real quick. I said we were going to go over weekly winners. I said we were going to go over a weekly winner. So let's look at some of the weeks that we can, you know, let's go over some of the weeks and see what we think could be a good week to target for you know, for the NFL fantasy draft for this weekly winners here. See which players we can target from certain teams. So I'm going to go to full screen here. So we got This is week 1. You know, I don't really. If you want to target, say, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, if you want to target kind of the first few weeks, it's kind of in your best interest to not take. They say it's not in your best interest to take like rookies and stuff like that. But I kind of disagree to a degree. It depends on which rookies you're talking about. Like Bijan opens up against Carolina, he could have a pretty good game right there, an opening game right there. I even think Jahmyr Gibbs could have even though this is a Thursday night game, you gotta think this is the first week of the season. They don't have any Jameson Williams. I think if you're targeting Lions players, look for a week 1 through 6 type of game if you're going to target Lions guys as far as the weekly winners go. So the Lions have KC, then they're at home against Seattle. They have week 3, they got Atlanta, so this could be like a week. I think I've already targeted week 3 a little bit. So you got like Atlanta, Detroit. This could be a little bit of a high scoring game here. It's indoors. Both teams are dome teams anyways. This could be a little bit of scoring in this game right here. You know, if you wanted to go like a Bijan and Gibbs as your running backs type of stack, this would be your week right here. I'm obviously trying to stay away from a lot of teams that are playing these like if I target a certain week, I'm staying away from the teams that are on Thursday night for the most part, depending on the matchup. But for the most part, that's who I'm staying away from. You got 2 Monday night games here. You got Philly against Tampa Bay. So like week 3, you could, I think I've already done this actually, but you could go like, you could try to get some Philly players, maybe some Cowboys players. They're in Arizona. Arizona's going to be terrible. You know, you got Atlanta, Detroit. That's a juicy matchup. You have, I'm trying to think of some other, like a little bit of high scoring, or like right here, you got Minnesota, LA. That's going to be a pretty high scoring affair. I would imagine. And so, and then you got Jacksonville and Houston actually as well. So this is tough because there's a lot of good matchups, I think, as far as fantasy production is going. So, but this could be one of those weeks you target some of these teams, Minnesota, LA, you know. If look, in Minnesota and LA could be a real high scoring game. Both teams don't really play any defense and they got a lot of offense on their on both teams. I think Jacksonville can handle Houston. This is an early game too. You know, it's early in the year, week 3. Houston's probably still going to be trying to get their feet underneath of them, you know, a little bit with the new quarterback, the rookie quarterback, and everything else. This could be a game where Jacksonville just throttles Houston. And then once again, same thing with Arizona, trying to get their feet underneath of them. You know, with the young team, with a bunch of guys we don't even know, they could just get throttled by Dallas here, I think, as well. This could be like a game you see Tony Pollard have a huge game for Dallas. You could even see Dak have a pretty good game as well, I think. And then you got, obviously, you got Philly at Tampa Bay, and they're just... This is like one of those revenge games right here. Philly, Tampa Bay. Remember when Tampa Bay and Brady took out Philly in the playoffs a couple years ago? This would be like one of those revenge games where Philly just goes in there and just absolutely dominates the Bucks that week on Monday Night Football. Like this is one of those games that gets ugly, like 35-0. Let's go on to week 4 here. I know a lot of people are actually targeting week 5 from what I've heard. Week 4 though, Atlanta, Jacksonville, you got Detroit on Thursday night with Green Bay. I'm not really a big fan of that one. But here you get New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is probably coming off of getting spanked on Monday Night Football. And they're going to be behind a day rest disparity to New Orleans. So this could be a week where you target New Orleans. You got the Chargers that you could target. They got Vegas in town. They're going to stomp them probably that week. And you could go after San Francisco against Arizona once again. So this could be one of those, like, I don't know about some of these other matchups. Miami, Buffalo, that could be a little bit high scoring maybe as well. But both teams also have, I would say both teams have better defenses than, say, like Vegas or say like Tampa Bay. That's the only problem I have with this matchup, is that both teams aren't bad on defense. Whereas Tampa Bay is old on defense. Plus they're coming off a Monday night game. Arizona's bad on defense. They're bad everywhere. Vegas is bad on defense. And they're playing a high octane offense. Really both San Francisco and LA Chargers are both high octane offenses. So that's why I kind of say this could actually be a week that we might target with this draft. I know a lot of people target week 5 because this is where the buys start to kick in a little bit. Obviously people target week 7 as well because of all these buys right here. You got the Jets, you got Dallas, you got Cincinnati, you got all the, you got some good teams here on buy. And so a lot of people like Atlanta would be a good target here against Tampa Bay. Chicago, I know Chicago's like super targeted right here. Like they're targeted with Vegas. And then you also got KC LA matchup, which is always pretty good. So this could be a decent game as well. And LA usually beats my Chiefs all the time whenever they come to Arrowhead for some reason. It's always like they always beat us here and we beat them on the road. You also got Seattle too, Seattle and Arizona. So, and really this Baltimore Detroit game could be interesting as well. This could be a little bit high scoring shootout as well potentially. Now usually what you want to do, or I see what a lot of people do, is they target like two teams that they like for instance, like they're going to target Chicago if they really like this matchup against Vegas at home. I would worry about the weather, maybe potentially like them getting some rain on like a game like this. That could ruin things. If they're playing in like a monsoon like they did against San Francisco last year. But if they get decent weather here, people will target like Chicago for this week, and then they'll find like another week. Let's go to like week 10 or something, and then they'll target like look at this, you got LA and Detroit right here. They would target something like this, or even if you get Atlanta, Arizona, they'll target like one of these key teams, and then they'll try to target like their division rival teams that they play twice a year and hope for one of those division games to hit. So let me go over my weekly winner. I have 6 teams already. So I got, let's see, this is my first team. I got Mahomes, Pickett, Stroud. I mean, you're still trying to, it's tough because you may want to go for certain weeks, but you still want to draft the best players available as well. So, I got Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Gibson, Dillon, Elijah Mitchell. Not a bad RB room. Kirk, Tony, Garrett Wilson, Freiermuth, Schultz. So like I took a couple of Chiefs players down here, and I took Tony for Mahomes. And then I think at tight end, I really punted tight end as far as like getting guys that go with a certain team that the Chiefs would play. But I got Wilson, who, the Jets and the Chiefs play week 4, so that could be maybe a matchup that's a little juicy. That's Sunday Night Football as well. And then I also got Jacksonville. I got a Jacksonville receiver. Chiefs play Jacksonville like week 2 or whatever. That could be a decent matchup as well. Rematch of the playoff divisional game. And I don't think I really have any link to my quarterback and my running backs as far as like matchups go. This was the first one I did though. See, like this one, I got a lot of Jacksonville guys. I got Lawrence, I got Kirk and Zay Jones, and then I got 2 pretty good receivers here. I'm trying to think if I had any matchups here for Jacksonville at running back position. I don't think so. It's not too bad of a running back room though. And then we got so yeah, I kind of went 2 Philly players, Jacksonville, and then I did get some Green Bay guys. I got Jaden Reed, I got Wicks to go with Jordan Love. So then we got Gibson and Sam Howell kind of together. So you know, it's, let me look at the most recent one I did here. This is the one where I think I targeted week 3 a little bit. So I got Gibbs and Bijan. And then I'm kind of all over the place. I did get Tyler Boyd to go with Burrow. I got Nico Collins to go with Stroud. And then I also got Dameon Pierce to go with Stroud. So I kind of got some Houston exposure. 2 Detroit guys here. I probably took the wrong 2 guys. I probably should have taken the other guy, Reynolds, but whatever. You just gotta kind of pick a week. So let's go ahead and pick a week, and then we'll jump into one of these drafts. Let's go. I kind of want to go back to. So week 10, you got Philly and the Chiefs taking a day off. So this could be a week to kind of target here if there's not very many juicy matchups. So we're gonna stay away from this. You know, these 2 teams if we were to go this route because they're Thursday night. Get the Jets taking on the Raiders. We could go like Jets. I pretty much love anybody that's taking the Raiders. Yo, Crypto Night Vision, what's going on, man? Are you still here? Should have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has the Houston Texans first week. Yeah. I don't really have too much of I don't really have a whole lot of the Ravens. Yeah, here they are. They got Houston at home first week. Yeah, you're right, Deck. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's going to take a couple of weeks probably for Houston to get their feet underneath of them with the new quarterback, the new head coach, everything else. They you know, they could get off to a little bit of a rocky start before they, I would say, get things in line to be competitive a little bit. It may take them a couple of weeks. So I think if I went week 1, I'm probably looking at like Minnesota. I'm looking at, you're here. All right, bro. Yeah, man, if I am, I don't know, man. I don't know if I've really done one of these going off of week 1 for the most part. I would look at like, I like this matchup right here, obviously, but who knows, man? Who knows if the defenses show up? You think the defenses show up week 1? I think for the most part in week 1, if I'm not mistaken, I think the trend is like it takes the offenses a little bit of time to get going, right? Like usually the defenses have the advantage week 1, if I'm not mistaken. That's usually the case, not always the case, but I think consensus across the board for every single team that plays week 1, I think mostly the defenses kind of have the advantage week 1. But I may be wrong. It may be the reverse. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, though, the defenses have a little bit of an advantage week 1. So I don't know if I would really target week 1 to a degree. I mean, obviously, I would target like this matchup, I think, regardless. I think the spread, not the spread, I think the total is already out. It's like 54.5 or whatever for the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. I think this could be a high-scoring game, too. If I go back to week 3, let's go to week 3 real quick. I want to look at week 3 again. I feel like I would want to target like a couple weeks in, dude, just to make sure the offenses are like in sync, you know, for some of these teams I target. This is week 4. Yeah, man, I love LA, bro. LA against Vegas week 4. Oh my god, dude. You gotta think, because Vegas is gonna be terrible. They're gonna be horrible. They're gonna be like 0-3 going into this game. Let's click on Vegas. Vegas has the Broncos. If they don't beat the Broncos, they're definitely losing against the Bills and the Steelers. So they could be 0-3 going into the Chargers. At the Chargers, not that it really matters. It'd be a home game for the Raiders. The Chargers don't really have home field advantage, but they would get throttled in that game, I feel like. And then you got You know, Minnesota's always a good team to target. I would worry. I don't know if I would really take Philly if you're talking about week 3 or week 4, which is what we're looking at. Washington has a pretty good defense. This could be a little bit of a I won't say snooze fest, but it could be a close game. And I don't know if you see a ton of scoring. I like New Orleans against Tampa Bay, obviously. I'm basically fading Tampa Bay, Arizona, Raiders. I would be fading them all year, and I would be looking to target teams that play them in certain weeks. If you're looking for a certain week, I would look for teams that play those teams in certain weeks for the weekly winners. So Raiders play Kansas City Christmas. Yeah, that would be what? That would be what, week 15, right? Week 16. Yeah, you got this matchup. I know Philly's like a 7-point favorite against New York, which is kind of crazy to think, but you also got Chicago playing Arizona at home. The only thing I'll worry about this game would be the weather. I would worry about what the weather was going to be like in Chicago. If it's like a blizzard, dude, I don't know how much I would like it. You do got Jacksonville though playing Tampa Bay as well, and that's in South Florida. Jacksonville is going to have to win this game. Tampa Bay at this point in the season too, you got to think this is week 16. Tampa Bay is probably going to be tanking at this point in the season, so this could be a game where Jacksonville just throttles Tampa Bay as well. And then you also got Atlanta, and Atlanta could put some points up on Indianapolis, I think, and really vice versa. This could be a little bit of a shootout as well. Plus, it's indoors, which helps at this time of the year. Same thing with Minnesota, Detroit, though, as well. Let's go after this. You know what? I think you're right. Let's go after this. We're going to stay away from this game, even though I kind of like this matchup. It is a Thursday night game, though. So, not really a fan, obviously. This could be a little bit of high scoring, Buffalo and LA. But, you know, I don't know, man. I'm going to stay away from this game just because these teams are fighting for playoff spots at this point. This is going to be a hard-hitting grind fest between these two teams, even though they're both pretty good, and Cincinnati obviously has a really good offense. This could be a close game. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. And that's the AFC North. So I say we target this week. Let's target this week. Let's go Detroit, Minnesota. Let's look at those guys. Let's look at Kansas City, obviously, because that's going to be Vegas at this. Like, this is the thing. Vegas, probably Arizona as well. I just worry about the weather, but Vegas, Arizona, and Tampa Bay, they're all facing pretty good teams. I think Chicago will be pretty good this year. They should handle Arizona. And then Jacksonville's obviously going to handle Tampa Bay. Chiefs will handle Vegas. These will be teams at this point in the season who are tanking. They're trying to get number 1 pick probably. So let me keep that up over here. Let's go ahead and jump into a draft. Good call on that. Good call on that freaking Christmas week games. Hopefully we get a good pick here. Chicago Bears play the Vikings 2 days after Thanksgiving on a Monday night game. Yeah, it's tough to go with division games. I think if I would go Chicago, I would, which I've already kind of went Chicago on one of my other teams. I think I ended up getting Fields and getting DJ Moore and Mooney, I think, on a team. I think I'm good as far as Chicago goes. I have some Chicago players on some of my other teams. I don't really have a whole lot of trying to think of who I don't really have a whole lot of. I don't have as much Minnesota as I would want, is the problem. Maybe we try to go like Minnesota, Detroit, because you do have Minnesota, Detroit playing this week on Christmas Eve, on Sunday. It's in Minnesota too. And then you have Jacksonville, obviously. I have a little bit of Jacksonville, as I already showed. I think I want to go like Detroit, Minnesota for the most part, and then we'll try to tack on some players from like Jacksonville or like the only thing is about going to Detroit, Minnesota is that you kind of have to have the number 1 pick because you got to get JJ. So it's kind of tough to go that route. We just got to see what pick we get. We're waiting on 6 people right now. So what are your thoughts on one second. What are your thoughts on like Barkley and Jacobs and Pollard today? What do you think about that? I mean, I think a lot of it we kind of knew already. I didn't really think anybody was going to get their contract. I thought there was a chance Barkley could, but I didn't think Pollard would.
Honda CRV.
Uh-oh.
Look what Tucson has and what CRV.
That's over there. Yeah, I didn't think I think Minnesota's going to be a pass happy offense. Yeah, they will be. 100% will be. They got rid of Cook. Cook's obviously out of there now. He's a free agent. I think Madison's obviously going to operate as number 1 running back, but he's not going to get nearly the opportunities that Cook got last year. And even last year with the opportunities that Cook got, they were still very pass happy. O'Connell, who came over from LA from their Super Bowl winning team a couple years ago, who's the head coach now, he loves to pass the ball. He's a very pass friendly head coach. And so yeah, Minnesota had what, a top 5 defense in terms of giving up the most points per game last year. So, and it's not going to change. They basically commit to stopping the run as far as their defensive scheme goes, and so they commit to stopping the run, and so they're vulnerable in the passing game on defense, and so that's going to create shootout matches. I think Minnesota is a very good team to target in fantasy this year once again. And I know people like, I know Cousins is on the last year of his deal, but he's playing for another contract, even though he's getting to that age where he may be out of the NFL here pretty soon, but he's playing for maybe a 2-year deal for somewhere else. And I think he's going to do everything in his power this year to accomplish earning that deal, even if it's with another team next year. And so I think he has a decent year again this year. I think he's one of the safest late quarterbacks that you can take in like round 9, 10, 11, or whatever you get him at, I think he's one of the safest quarterbacks to take if you go late quarterback in fantasy this year, especially in best ball. Waiting on 2 people, so it's filling up. It's taking a minute, but it's filling up here. We haven't done one of these in a minute, so I would really like to get like the number 1 pick, man, if I'm gonna go Minnesota here. It's not gonna be easy to go Minnesota if we don't get like a top 2 pick and get Jefferson. So I guess I should start maybe game planning for a couple other weeks maybe here. Let's just gotta see where we're picking from, If not, I think I might go after like week. Let's see here. I'm looking at week 5 again. This is when the bye weeks start. You got Atlanta at Houston. Waiting on one person. Stats. Or we got pick number 9. That's rough. That's not good. Who allowed the most yards per game last year? The Lions and the Vikings were top 2. The Texans were top 3. Raiders were top 5. Okay. All right, so let's go, man. So I need to attack Houston, Vegas, and obviously Detroit and Minnesota would actually work. See, that's why I would like to go Detroit and Minnesota, like I was saying. Let me go back to our weeks here. Let's go to week 3. What week was that Chicago was playing Houston? That was... No, they're not playing Houston, are they? Never mind, they're not playing Houston. Look at Mahomes go first. Wow. Okay, Houston plays Jacksonville week 3. We could go Jacksonville, and then we could go... I like Jacksonville this year too. We could go Jacksonville, and we could go another team. What's Jacksonville's schedule this year? Do they play... No, they don't. They don't play the Lions. They don't play anybody from that division this year. We could go Jacksonville for week 3, and then we could go like Minnesota and LA. They play each other, and then we also got Detroit and Atlanta. So, gosh, let me pull up my phone here so I can pick these guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take this guy. I like to take this guy a lot. Give me St. Brown. So we'll get some Detroit players here a little bit. We'll try to attack like Detroit and Jacksonville and maybe like the Chargers or somebody like that. I don't know. We'll have to pivot a little bit depending on who gets taken. So Crypto says, I think the running backs that got the franchise tag, they just have to suck it up and play, unfortunately. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, man. And I kind of feel bad for him, and then I also don't feel bad for him. I mean, we are talking about $10.1 million, which I know they could be making a little more, obviously, but at the same time, I mean, I really don't feel sorry. Like the real world version of me, you know, even outside of doing this online and stuff, I kind of don't feel sorry for you. I mean, you could be doing what I'm doing and living paycheck to paycheck every week, I guess. So, but at the same time, I understand that you got other players in the NFL that are making more. You got backup receivers making more. I think Eckler, we talked about how Eckler was unhappy with his contract, making $6.25 million this year is what he's scheduled to make. He was talking about how backup receivers are making more than that, which is, it's kind of stupid, but it is what it is, It is what it is. Boy, this is tough here. Let's go. I'm going to take the best available player, in my opinion, at this point in the draft. So I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. I thought about Lamar Jackson. I was like this close to taking Lamar Jackson. Like you said, you know, like that week 1 against Houston. I probably should have taken Lamar. Lamar still might be there though on the way back. But then again, if I don't get Lamar, I'm not too upset. Like I said, we might go a little bit of Detroit so we can get Goff later. We can get Trevor Lawrence going with these, going with some of these Jacksonville players as well. Jacksonville's got Indianapolis week 1. That could be a stomping. I think Indy's like Indy and Houston and some of these other teams, Arizona, the Raiders. It's going to take them a couple of weeks to get like I think the first 2 weeks they could be vulnerable to getting throttled by their opponents, especially if they're playing good teams. Like Houston's got Baltimore at Baltimore to start off. That's going to be a game where I know they got the new quarterback, they got a new head coach and this and that, but that's not always a good thing for, like, it's going to take them a couple of weeks to get their heels dug in and get everything, you know, get everything on the right track. That could be a game opening week where Houston just gets blown out. So then the same could be said about like Indy. Even though they're at home against Jacksonville, Jacksonville is going to be, they're going to put probably a whooping on Indy that week, would be my guess. And then the other one I would say is probably Minnesota at home against Tampa Bay. You can see Tampa Bay get smoked right off the get-go. You can think Browns like your second pick for Detroit. Yeah, but I really don't want Vegas, man. I don't want Vegas. I want the people that are playing Vegas. We'll probably do another one of these too. We're not going to just do this one. We've already done, what, 6 of these? This will be number 7. We'll probably do at least a few more, hopefully. You know, I don't know when this contest is going to close. I don't think it's going to close anytime soon, though. Let me check real quick. Oh, yeah, there's only 56,000 entries right now, and they're taking up to 261,000, so we still got plenty of time to do weekly winners. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna go Calvin and Ridley right here. I've not done a weekly winner since, like, I don't even know, like a few weeks ago. So I've already seen that, like, the ADPs have changed a little bit, which is kind of fascinating to me. It's so weird because it doesn't matter what you do. There's like, see, and this guy took Gibbs. That's crazy, man. I was gonna take Gibbs on the way back, bro. See, this is so hard. I haven't done enough of these to like know where everybody's kind of going. I was gonna take Gibbs on the way back. We just got sniped. That's okay. A lot of these quarterbacks are kind of going early. We might go quarterback here with our next pick. Keenan Allen, okay. I need to start looking. I need to go back and look at the schedule here. This is kind of... All right, we're going to have to take this guy because he will not be there. I don't think he'll be there on the way back. There's no chance. So we're going to go ahead and get Trevor Lawrence. All right, let me look at Jacksonville's schedule real quick. So they got the Colts, they got Chiefs, they got Texans week 3. So we can look at week 3. They also got the Texans week, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 or whatever it is. I want to say it's 12 because they got the bye week. They also got the Buccaneers right here. Let's look at this week right here. Let's look at the Christmas week, like you were saying. Schedule Christmas week. That's the week they play the Bucks, which they should just absolutely annihilate them. They're going to be tanking at that point in the season because they're going to be so bad. So we get the Bucks with Jacksonville. Jacksonville playing in Tampa Bay. It's going to be good weather. South Florida should be good weather, hopefully. And then we can target. We have Detroit and Minnesota, so we can try to get some more Detroit players. I'm going to try to get like Montgomery and Jared Goff. We gotta at least get Jared Goff probably because we gotta get the QB receiver combo here. And then we can target. You got Cleveland playing in Houston. You got another Deshaun Watson revenge game here in Houston. Week 16. Oh man, that could be a game. Maybe Cleveland goes out and stomps them. Who knows? I like Atlanta and then Indianapolis, but it's already kind of too late on Atlanta because Bijan's gone. That would be like the main guy I would want to go get. I don't know about Pitts in London. I think London's off the board already, right? Is London on the board still? Yeah, he is still on the board. Plus you get KC. You get KC in Vegas. KC in Vegas. So, well, we're pretty much out on KC already because Kelsey and Mahomes are gone. You can't even get Kelsey and Mahomes, at least not in this draft. Mahomes went 1, Kelsey went 5. Ravens play Houston week 1 and Indianapolis week 2. Yeah. And then they play. Who do they play week 3? They have an easy matchup week 3 too, right? Or is that the Chiefs game? I think that's the Chiefs game actually. No, it's not. It's oh, you're talking about the Ravens. I'm thinking Jacksonville. Ravens play Houston week 1. Yeah. I'm kind of out on the Ravens though. I missed out on Lamar. I guess a bunch of the receivers kind of go late, and I could get Dobbins. Could go get Dobbins. I should get a running back right here. Christian Kirk is on the board, man. Oh my goodness. I think we'll be okay. Let's go get Dobbins then. I think Dobbins is I think he's a good guy to target here. I think he has a breakout year this year. Yeah, let's go get Dobbins. We'll get Dobbins and we'll get a couple of Baltimore receivers as well. I think you might be right. They're supposed to throw the ball a little bit more this year, so we'll see. See if that's the case. So we got Dobbins. I might take Kirk though if he's there. If Kirk falls to me here, which I would assume he's gone. He's at the top of the list right now. Christian Kirk is. There he goes. So we don't have to worry about that. We can go get who do they got week 2? They on the road. No, they're at Cincinnati week 2. Baltimore's got Indy in week 3, not week 2, week 3. That could be a game though, like against Indy, where they kind of stick it to them, for sure. All right, we're on the clock here. Let's go get. Goodness gracious. gonna go ahead and get this guy before it's too late. I know it's a reach. You don't have to tell me. I know it's a reach, but I'm gonna go ahead and get him to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown here. We got two guys that'll score touchdowns if they get in the red zone. Hopefully. I know Dobbins is kind of competing with Lamar Jackson a little bit, but Montgomery won't compete with anybody. I don't think they're going to use Gibbs at all, really, inside the 5-yard line, unless they're throwing him the ball, obviously. But as far as like running the ball between the tackles, it's going to be Montgomery, and that's literally it. So I love Montgomery this year, obviously. I like him a little more probably in like a regular best ball league than probably this, but this isn't a bad idea to take him as long as we're going to get, you know, Detroit guys. I thought about Pierce, but Montgomery's better suited for what we're trying to do here with the weekly stuff. Look at all these quarterbacks going early, man. This is crazy. This is so much like different than the regular best ball leagues. It's crazy how different it is. I'm not accustomed to it. I've already done like 3 or 4 fast puppies over the last couple of days, so this is kind of different for me to jump into a weekly winner contest and see all these guys going early. Mahomes goes first overall. Like, this guy went Mahomes and Lamar and Justin Fields. This guy has 3 quarterbacks, bro. What is going on here? He's got Hawkinson, Akers. That's a little early for Akers. I like Akers, but took Mike Evans. What is this guy doing? This guy has no game plan at all. Crypto says they have Detroit week 3. What, Atlanta? Atlanta has Detroit week 3. Atlanta is at Detroit week 3. I like that matchup though for Detroit. I think they can score a little bit. Atlanta's defense is terrible. Atlanta's defense. Last year, Atlanta's defense gave up the 6th most yards per game. Let's look at points per game. Points per game, Atlanta they gave up 22.7. You see Detroit, Detroit gave up the 3rd most points per game. So that's the thing, and I think Detroit. I think Detroit have a little bit. I think they're going to have a little bit better of a defense this year, but I don't think it's going to be much. It's going to be very, very similar to last year, I believe. All right, so let's go get. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna take Evan Ingram here. Give me another guy for Jacksonville. And then I was gonna take this other guy, but I think we can take him on the way back here. Let me go back to my week 3. Looking here at week 3 again. All right, this is week 3, right? Yep. Okay. Or yeah, let's go back to week 16. So we got Jacksonville and Tampa Bay week 16. We got Detroit there. Who does Baltimore play week 16? That's right, they're playing San Francisco. That's okay. Baltimore could help me, like my Baltimore players could help me week 3 or week 1 or 2 as well. I'm gonna take. Who are you taking at receiver for Baltimore? I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy. I know Don't give me too much flack for this, but we're gonna take Rashad White, because Rashad White, I want to have somebody else on the other team against Jacksonville, and I want Rashad White out of everybody, because I think Rashad White will be a little bit like game proof, I guess, in the sense to where if Tampa Bay's having a bad game, which they will be in a lot of these weeks, I think Rashad White will benefit more than just about anybody. They're gonna be dumping him the ball left and right, like Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, whoever the quarterback is. They're gonna be dumping the ball to him left and right. And so now hopefully he stays healthy enough to get to week 16 for this matchup. That's the only concern I have. Let's see here. Like even against Philly though, week 3, he could provide for us week 3, and then we still have Jacksonville playing Houston. We got Baltimore at home against Indy. We're gonna grab some Baltimore receivers on the way back here, I think. Try to. I know Bateman just went, but that's okay. We might get like Odell. Try to get like Odell. I know Flowers is at the top of the list. I would rather have Odell though over Flowers this year, I believe. So I've kind of been back and forth on that, but I would reckon Odell falls to us here. Where's Odell at? Not off the board, is he? Is Odell off the board? He is off the board. He's right here. What in the world? What in the world? Well, that's out of the question. We might go Zay Flowers if he's there then. I just don't know how much playing time Zay Flowers is going to get. It's a crowded room, man, with Mark Andrews, Bateman coming back, Odell on his contract. He's going to play. I just don't know how much. I know Zay Flowers is the number 3, you know, he's technically a starter, number three receiver, but I just don't know. He's not going to be in any 2-man sets unless there's like an injury, dude. That's a problem with him. I'm not liking some of the quarterbacks that are on the board here. We could go. We can wait a little bit. Oh, actually, no, we can't. That guy go already? Do we wait on this quarterback? I don't know. There he is. No, we should be able to wait on him. Let's go. Zay Flowers went already. Let's go. Let's go get Nico Collins, okay? I'm going to go a little bit of Houston here, because here's the thing. Even though Houston's going to be bad, and they're going to get throttled probably in a lot of these games, if I want to have pieces from the other side of the teams that I'm also targeting, just because they could be in a little bit of a, you know, Houston's going to be throwing the ball a ton to catch up, because they're going to be playing from behind. So maybe we target a receiver or two, and then maybe we get Stroud as like our 3rd quarterback, like super late. You know, that's kind of my outlook on it. I think if there's any bad team that can be a little bit competitive, out of like the Raiders, out of the Texans, out of who else are we talking about? Out of like the Cardinals, I think Houston would be the better option to go with as far as drafting their players, because I think they could be maybe a little more competitive than say the Raiders or the Cardinals or some of these other bad teams. Really just depends on how good CJ Stroud is. It's really what it depends on. I hate to do this, but I'm going to, because I have to make sure I get this guy. I have to. So I'm gonna reach on Jared Goff here, especially after watching 2 quarterbacks just go. There's only one more QB that's in front of Goff, and that's Geno. So I'm gonna make sure I get him to go with Montgomery and Amon-Ra. And this isn't bad. This isn't a bad team. I don't mind it so far, especially from the 9 spot. This is You know, it's a little tough from the 9 spot. But we're looking at Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff. Then we got Dobbins, Montgomery, Rashad White, Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Calvin Ridley. And we got Evan Ingram to go with our Jacksonville guys at tight end. So it's not too bad. I'm not super upset about how this has gone. Rookies from Minnesota like Addison, Zay Flowers. Yeah, I can't believe that. Where did Addison go? I wasn't even looking at Addison. Addison went, he didn't go early, but Addison's actually starting to fall kind of, actually Addison did kind of go early into round 6. Addison's been falling routinely in the middle of round 7, I think, in a regular best ball draft. So he went a little early here. But see, this guy got Cousins. He reached on Cousins to get Cousins, and he got Jefferson. So if I was gonna, like, you know, like I said, and what's tough about this, if it, like, don't get me wrong, I think Minnesota and Detroit, if you could stack players from those two teams, would be a dream scenario for a weekly winner contest. The problem is you're never going to get St. Brown and Jefferson together, which sucks. You'd have to give a little bit. So this guy went Jefferson, he went Addison, Cousins, and then he did get Jameson Williams here, but I have all the other Detroit guys. See, what he could do right here is he could reach on like Jahmyr Gibbs right here, or even right here. He could get him probably at 23 or 26 to go with Jefferson, or you could do it from the number 1 spot as well, right? If you took Jefferson number 1. You could still get Jared Goff. You would just have to settle for, somebody other than Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then really, I guess if you wanted to go the Minnesota Detroit route from like any other pick other than 1 or 2, because you're not going to get JJ, you'd have to reach on some guys. Obviously, you'd have to reach on Hawkinson. You'd have to reach on Addison probably a little bit as well. All right, we're back on the clock here. Let's go. Everything's starting to dry up here a little bit. Oh my goodness. I don't like any of this. I guess I'm going to take this guy. I was going to take Taysom Hill, but he's already gone. I would have taken Taysom Hill if he was there. I probably should have taken Schultz. I didn't even think Schultz was on the board still. Yeah, let's go get Schultz. I'm going to go get Schultz on my next pick, too. I might as well get a little bit of this Houston offense in case they are a little bit competitive in some of these games that we have, you know, them playing against some of our players. Like I said, I don't like Houston as far as like, but I would say like, I know whenever you do these, you want to get obviously your main teams, and you want to get a little bit of a portion of the teams that they're playing to a degree. You want to get the main pieces at least. And so, because there's a chance that like if Houston is a little bit competitive, or if they can make a game like a shootout or something, or, you know, if like one of these bad teams can make the game a little bit of a shootout, because they're obviously not going to be able to stop anybody. Like Houston, the Raiders, the Cardinals, some of these other bad teams, they're not really going to be able to stop anybody. And so you're hoping that their offense can score a little bit. You know, who else are we talking about? Like the Colts. You know, Colts have a bad defense. You're talking about Minnesota, obviously, but Minnesota has a good offense, so they're going to stay competitive for the most part. The Bears actually had a really bad defense last year as well. All right, I'm going to go get Schultz. We don't really need these receivers that are up here on the board. I don't need Russell Wilson. I don't have to have Michael Gallup or Mooney or Rondell Moore. I do like Rondell Moore to a degree. I would take him. I would definitely take him if he came back to me, but I don't think he will, obviously. So we go get this guy next, and then I think we can wait a little bit on CJ Stroud. Yeah, CJ Stroud's kind of way down there. We can wait on him. Probably not my best combo of players, but it's not horrible. Let me see what I got on these other teams here. Like I said, this is our 7th team that we drafted from weekly winners, so yeah, I do have a little bit of Houston on this one right here. Let me see what I got on this one here. We got so this is one where we got Chicago. We got Chicago. We got I got Chase Claypool and DJ Moore to go with Fields in this one. And then I took, this is actually a pretty good team right here. I don't mind this team at all. So we got Chicago, and then we got Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, the 2 Washington running backs to go with, because you got to think Chicago, I think Chicago plays Washington this year in a game, or who did I pair them up with here? But I also got Detroit guys. I got St. Brown, I got Sam Laporta, the rookie Detroit tight end, and I got David Montgomery. Yeah, I think Chicago and Detroit play twice a year. And then I got Stroud, I got Devin Singletary for Houston, and that's all I got for Houston on this team actually. But I got Taysom Hill and I got Dallas Goedert, and then I got Devontae Smith as my second receiver on this team as well. So it's not horrible. It's not horrible. This one we went. We actually have a high weekly average. Of course, I don't look at the weekly averages. They don't really mean anything. I think I'm gonna do another one after this, and we're gonna kind of let's go after, well, it just depends on where we get our pick, but if we pick again like anywhere around like the 7, 8, or 9 spot or 10 spot, we might go Charger players. All right, I'm gonna go Bigsby. Get me another Jacksonville guy, just in case. You never know, he might get a little bit more playing time at this point in the season down here as well. We're shooting for kind of week 16 a little bit, and maybe a couple other weeks, you know, just depends, but he might be able to get some more playing time later in the season. Never know, maybe an injury comes up on ETN or something like that. Crypto, what do you think, man? What do you think of this so far? I know it's not the best team that we probably had put together, but it's doable. You never know. All it has to do is win a decent amount one week, and you never know. Usually the ones that you think like won't do very well are usually the ones that end up doing pretty well. That's what's funny about it. I say, man, I might try to target like, what was that week here that we had? What was that week that we had LA and Detroit playing? That might be the week, dude, that we target. Schedule. What's that week that Detroit plays LA? $11-12, so that would be... Oh, hold on, we're back on the board here. Let's go get... Let's go get Laporta. Sorry, you guys can't see that. I took Laporta. Is that week 6? Week 6 that Detroit... So Detroit plays Tampa Bay week 6. Okay, that's juicy. Who does LA play? Oh, they play Monday night against Dallas. Okay. And then so... So week 6, they both have pretty decent matchups, and then what is it, week 11 that they play each other? No. Week 12? Which week is it? Week 10? I think it's week 10. Yeah, it's week 10. Okay, they play week 10. So week 6 and week 12 for Detroit and LA would be pretty good. So we go... You also got Cincinnati play Houston week 10 as well. Holy smokes. You get the Jets playing Vegas. I actually like this week 10. We might target a little bit of week 10 here with this next one. Atlanta playing Arizona. See, I wouldn't want Jacksonville because Jacksonville's at home against San Francisco. That, you know. I say we go after week 10 here. I say we do another one right after this, and we do week 10. Because you got Philly and Kansas City on bye, you got Miami on bye, the Rams on bye. You don't have to worry about really Chicago much. Chicago's playing Thursday night against Carolina, so I would avoid that game because it's Thursday night. You got LA and Detroit playing in the afternoon at SoFi Stadium. All right, I'm going to start kind of drafting players that I just think are best available to a degree. So we're going to go get Jaden Reed here as a receiver, rookie receiver. I don't really know who they're playing. Actually, I think Green Bay has a decent matchup here. Yeah, they play at Carolina week 16, so that could be a decent matchup for him. Maybe he gets going there towards the end of the year. I think he's just the best available player on the board right now, so I'm taking him. I don't need to have Jeff Wilson or Zeke or Paris Campbell or Jerome Ford or Hunter Renfrow. I don't need to have those guys. Probably take this guy next. Just in case, just for a little bit of a backup plan, just in case something happens. I'm going to take Gus the Bus if he's there. Just to kind of back up my J.K. Dobbins pick. Unless this guy snipes me. Of course, I do need to get CJ Stroud, but I don't know if CJ Stroud might fall to me. His ADP is 203. I have picked 201 after this pick, so we'll see if he's there. Hopefully, he's still there. All right, we're gonna take Gus the Bus. Just in case, a little bit of a insurance plan for J.K. Dobbins. I'm gonna go up here in the top right corner so we can see the rest of this. We're back on the clock here. Goodness gracious, what do we do? What do we do? CJ Stroud is still there, so we'll take him. Pretty easy pick there. We got some Houston guys. Let's go ahead and take CJ Stroud. With this last pick, we can go. Let me see here. Let me see who's kind of left here. We could probably just go best player available. I'm looking to see if there's like anybody I have to have here based off what we've already kind of drafted. I think we'll go ahead and just take this guy. I know Stroud loves this guy to a degree, and maybe he gets going here in some of these games where we have the teams playing Houston. We got Houston, a little bit of Houston, obviously, quite a bit of Houston, and then we got Jacksonville as our main team. We have one Tampa Bay guy. We do have a Tennessee player who will also be playing our Houston and Jacksonville players twice a year. And then we got some Detroit. We got a little bit of Detroit here. Montgomery, St. Brown, Jared Goff. So now that we're done, I'm just going to go ahead and back out of this one. Back out of that real quick. Let's do another one, and let's do let's try to go after like week 10. I think week 10 can be a promising week to target. Let's target week 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into one right now. Waiting on 9 people here, so let's go back over week 10 here. We're looking at here you go. So we're looking at, obviously you got Houston playing Cincinnati, so you can kind of go that route. Remember, Kansas City, Philly are on bye this week, so that's good because a lot of people are going to have obviously those guys, and those are 2 teams that can put up some points. A lot of fantasy assets on both of those teams, but we can target like Cincinnati. Obviously, I like that. Like I wouldn't mind somebody saying, "Yeah, I'm going to target Cincinnati because of this week." I'd be like, "Okay, that's good thinking." Obviously, you got Atlanta, Arizona. This could be. You never know. You have kind of 2 bad defenses right here. And Atlanta's got a little bit of firepower on offense, and Arizona could probably, they're not going to do a whole lot of scoring this year, but they could do a little bit on Atlanta. Get this right here, though, Detroit and LA. I like this matchup a lot right here, so we're going to try to target these 2 teams based off what we get. And then you also got New York in Vegas. That's in a dome. Oh, let me go back. That's in a dome, and at this point in the year, I think week 10, this could be, this could be a week where you gotta think this is after the bye week for New York. Vegas's bye week is when? When is Vegas? I don't even know when Vegas's bye week is because I think it's week 7 as well. Is it week 7 also? No, it's not. I don't even know when Vegas's bye week is because I don't draft any of their players. I guess I can just click on. It's week 13, so they're not even to the bye at this point. So Vegas won't even be to the bye at this point. So they're just gonna be trying to get to the bye week at this point. And so this could be a team that you target. You go New York and Detroit. You go New York and LA. Or we're waiting on 4 people right now. See, like I would try to avoid, obviously, like if you're thinking about this week, you know, Jacksonville and San Francisco, who knows with this matchup, but San Francisco has a good defense. You know, this could be a little bit high scoring. You never know. You never know, but I would maybe stray away from it just because it's kind of two heavyweights going at it. You know, Jacksonville's not quite a heavyweight, but they're on the verge of being a heavyweight in the AFC, and so I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure on that game. Obviously Seattle and Washington, I would be trying to avoid that matchup. Dallas and New York, I would be trying to avoid that matchup a little bit too. A little bit you know, a little bit of defense, I think, in that game. Saints have a pretty good defense here against Minnesota, even though Minnesota's at home, and obviously they have a high-powered offense, but this could be maybe a week they don't quite do as good in. And then Pittsburgh and Green Bay, I just, yeah, I don't know about that, man. I wouldn't think that the total on this game is going to be anywhere close to 50 in this game. So this Detroit LA is very intriguing this week. And then you got New York against Vegas, and once again you got Cincinnati against Houston. So it's very, very intriguing to me. I like those 3 games specifically for week 10. If I'm a betting man on who's going to be having some fantasy output those games, I'm looking at those 3 matchups right there for the most part. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some outliers. You're going to have somebody from one of these other games who maybe do something to maybe be on the winning team, but as far as like getting yourself into the money for that week, I'm looking at those 3 matchups. Still waiting on about 2 people or so. 2 people. Be curious to see. Look, if we get look, I'm going after this. Okay, I'm going after this week 10 stuff. So if we get a bad pick, like if we get like a pick like inside the top 3 to where you don't really draft these guys. All right, we got pick 8, so this actually might work out pretty well. So if we got a pick that was inside the top 3 where you don't really see these guys from these teams, I'm just gonna reach on them. So pick 8 though, so we just had pick number 9 or whatever it was. They love to give me like pick 7, 8, or 9 or 10. They don't love to give me anywhere else in the draft. They always live, you know, right here. This is where I live basically, and it sucks, but it is what it is. We will make do with what they give us. At some point in time, whenever I go live again throughout the week, we'll do another one of these, and they'll eventually give us the number 1 pick. So right now we're going to target week 10, and let's just see what we can come up with here. Let's see if any of these quarterbacks go super early again. Oh, that was quick. JJ. Kelsey goes pretty early in these, obviously, as we all know. Nothing crazy so far. Nothing super crazy. It was Tyreek Hill. That's fine. We kind of suspected that. AJ Brown goes. All right, let's kind of do what we kind of did last time. Let's go St. Brown again. Okay. We're gonna go St. Brown. Hopefully this guy can stay healthy to make it to week 10, man. Really hope. Also, week 6 though is another. This strategy can kind of work for week 6 as well. We got Detroit, Tampa Bay. We got who did the Chargers play? Chargers are at home. Monday Night Football against Dallas. They could maybe put up some points against Dallas's defense. Dallas's defense is gettable. Because they have cornerbacks like Trayvon Diggs and you know, and even some other guys on the defense who kind of gamble a lot. So they're you know, they're gettable. Eckler, Chubb, Bijan go. We will happily take Garrett Wilson if he falls to us. I don't know if he will or not, to be honest. If we don't go Garrett Wilson again, we can go. So we don't have to go and get. We can maybe go Gibbs. Reach on Gibbs a little bit. So Garrett Wilson just went. There goes Waddle. We could go quarterback or we could reach on Gibbs. And I think I'm going to reach on Gibbs, to be honest. Where's Gibbs at? All right, we're gonna reach on Gibbs here, okay? Just trust what I'm doing here. I know what I'm doing, okay? I know what you guys are thinking. I know what you guys are thinking, but you'll see. Just wait for it to play out here. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go get a water and something to eat. I am starving. Be right back. So we got our Detroit guys for the most part, and we're gonna get our Charger players, and then we'll see what else we can add on here depending on who's on the board. Crap, I almost dropped my banana. Okay, it's a lot of good players on the board here. A lot of good players that I like that are on the board. All right, he took Olave. That's kind of good. I was thinking about Olave, to be honest, man. Olave at 32 would be wild. We're gonna, I don't like really drafting this guy too much, but he could have a good game here if he's healthy, obviously. If he's healthy against Detroit come week 10. So we'll go get him. And obviously I'm going to be devastated if we don't get Herbert here. Pretty devastated if we can't get this guy. When I was thinking about taking Burrow, to be honest. It is what it is. Quarterbacks are coming off, man. This isn't good. It is not good. Oh, man. Maybe we should have taken Herbert, bro. Should have taken Herbert, I think. I think I messed up. I think I messed up. Don't take Herbert.
Come on, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. This guy. What are you doing? This guy just took my guy, bro. I mean... you can't be serious. You can never get I even reached on Gibbs to try to get Keenan and Herbert, and I still couldn't do it, bro. If you guys wonder why I reached on Gibbs, that is why. I reached on him so I could go, because I knew I was going to have to spend a 3rd or a 4th round pick. I thought I could get him in. Oh my goodness, dude. We're going to try this strategy again, but I gotta have like pick number 10 or 11, I think, to do it. Because I can get St. Brown back here at 10 or 11 or even 12 probably, and then I can still get Gibbs, obviously. Oh my goodness, man. I knew I should have taken Herbert, bro. I knew it. Because even if I missed out on Keenan Allen, oh well, you know, oh well. God, man. What is this guy thinking, bro? Like, what is he thinking? What does he need Herbert for? Do we know? The guy's got Breece Hall, Waddle, and Diggs, and he takes Herbert on me. Take Tua, bro. That's unbelievable. God, man. That's why I reached on Gibbs, though, because I knew if I wanted Allen and I wanted Herbert, I was going to have to reach on Gibbs. God, maybe I should have just taken Herbert in round 2, bro. Reached on him first. These guys are getting quarterback happy, dude. I hate it. I can't stand it. I was hoping he would just not take quarterback, but I knew it, dude. I knew it as soon as these guys right here, Burrow and Fields, the guys that I knew as soon as they passed on, I was like, man, Herbert's gonna go 1 pick right before me. That's unbelievable. All right, we got to pivot here. Let's go to week 6 real quick. Let me look at week 6. Who do the Jags have? They have the Colts. Okay, so week 6, we got Detroit against Tampa Bay. We get the Chargers against Dallas. We're kind of out on the Chargers now. I know we have Keenan Allen, but we're kind of out on them now, to be honest. Because we don't have Herbert, we don't have Eckler. I didn't want Mike Williams. Mike Williams is gone anyways. I don't really care. So let's kind of target week 6 a little bit here. We have Jacksonville at Indy. We have Detroit at Tampa Bay. And we have we got New England at Vegas. We got the Rams at Arizona. I'm kind of out on the Rams already though. Chicago and Minnesota. Atlanta, Washington. Okay. Let's go get... Who does Baltimore play? Where the heck is Baltimore at? Tennessee. Give me Cam Akers, because Cam Akers has Arizona. So give me Cam Akers right here. And then let's go... Man, I can't believe that guy took Herbert, bro. Yeah, we got Jacksonville and Indy, so this is a decent matchup. The problem is I don't have any Jacksonville receivers, bro. And if I would have known that this was going to happen, I would have just taken Ridley, or I would have taken, God, man, I would have taken Kirk. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. That guy took my freaking guy. All right, I'm gonna take this guy next if he's there. If he's there, it's gonna be a big if, but we'll take him. If he's not there, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna cry. Probably gonna cry if he's not there. Oh, he's there, thank goodness. All right, we're gonna go Godwin. I think Godwin could benefit the most out of all the receivers there in Tampa Bay. This would be a decent game for him too, with Detroit in town. A little bit of a vulnerable defense maybe. So, gosh, man, I still can't get over the fact that that guy sniped me, bro. This guy took Tua super early. Holy cow. Tua in the middle of round 6, bro. Okay, let's see here. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do here? The game plan for this now. Look at some of these other weeks here. Maybe we can steal a couple of players. Got Montgomery on the board. We have Addison on the board. We have Quentin Johnston on the board. There goes Montgomery. I was probably going to take Montgomery if he was there, but I didn't think he would be there anyways, to be honest, considering where we are picking. Could go Rashad White again, get a little bit of another piece of this Tampa Bay offense. Even though I'm not a fan of their offense, to be honest with you, but they are playing my Lions in week 6. Got LA. We can get some more LA pieces of the Rams and the Chargers, really. Minnesota plays at Chicago week 6. Makes me sick, bro, that I didn't get. I'm gonna go with Quentin Johnston just because I already got Keenan Allen, dude. It makes me sick to my stomach, dude. And we didn't get Herbert right there. One pick away, we didn't get Herbert. It makes me sick to my stomach. We've been live for over 2 hours now, a little more than 2 hours and 16 minutes. You know, today we went over the running backs. We went over Pollard, Barkley, and Jacobs over their contract, not reaching a contract, you know, by the deadline today, and what the situation is now for those guys moving forward. So we talked about that a little bit. And if you guys haven't heard me talk about that, you guys can rewind or go back to the beginning of the show. If you guys have any questions about it though right now would be a good time to ask me. We can talk about like whatever you guys want to talk about as far as the running backs are concerned. What do I think is going to be the outcome? And you know, how these guys are going to perform coming up this year. You know, training camp is starting this week for the rookies. Pretty much the veterans, for pretty much every team, the veterans will be coming to training camp next week. You know, the beginning of like next week, like Tuesday, I believe. Or I guess it would be, yeah, Tuesday, 25th for the most part. And so if you guys have any questions regarding any of these guys leading up to training camp right now, ask away and we will try to give you guys the best answers possible. I'm gonna go ahead and get Evan Ingram again. I need a guy to pair up with Trevor Lawrence here. I hate, oh my goodness, I hate having an 8 or 9 spot, man. I'm not a fan of it. I would rather be at the end at like 10, 11, or 12 than the 8 or 9 spot, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. And obviously 5 and 6 and 7 aren't much better either. I would say 4 kind of sucks too. I'd rather be 1, 2, 3 or 10, 11, and 12. Bottom line. But yeah, if you guys have any questions regarding some of these latest headlines that we got about the running backs, go ahead and let me know. And I'll give you guys my most honest opinion about everything and my best advice moving forward, I guess, on each running back or player, whoever. It doesn't have to be a running back, obviously. So I would say, I would, you know, in general about Jacobs, I would just say I would be staying away from him this year. So he's going to be tough to trust. It's going to be tough to trust. Let's just put it that way. All right, we're moving into round 9 here. Okay. Let's see. Kamara just went round 9. That's good value. Is that Kamara, Pierce, Walker? Say Flowers, Lockett, Debo, Tyreek, Mark Andrews, and Lamar. Okay. That's decent from him. We're gonna go. We're on the clock now. We need to go. Grief. These guys are coming off bye into week 6, so I'm gonna go ahead and take. I'm just gonna give me another tight end here. Pittsburgh would have been on bye, so we didn't take Freiermuth. We got 2 running backs, 4 receivers, 2 tight ends, and a quarterback. We need another running back, obviously. We can go get where the heck is Denver at, dude? Oh, they're playing Thursday night against Kansas City. Okay. They're on bye that week. That sucks. It's Washington. Washington plays Atlanta. Okay, we can go get Washington. Maybe. Maybe. Let's go get this guy next. All right, we're gonna go get Brian Robinson as our 3rd running back. I got Atlanta at Atlanta, week 6, so he maybe could provide. Maybe we'll see. He might be able to do it.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Small chance. Cousins is staying on the board a long time. It's gonna fall all the way to the guy that has Jefferson and well, he just has JJ. He's gonna fall all the way to the guy that's got JJ here at round 10. That's pretty wild. He's gonna take him too. Here he comes. He'll take him with one of these picks. Would be my guess. At least I would if I was him. Takes Okonkwo. Here comes. You guys can't see it. Sorry, Cousins. Yep, called it. Called that one. Called that one.
Yep.
It was Rodgers. Gallup just went. Kincaid, A-Chain. These are all kind of guys I don't really want. I thought about Elijah Mitchell. I was actually thinking about taking Elijah Mitchell, to be honest with you guys. Obviously that's not going to be the case anymore. This guy will take Taysom Hill probably, if I had to guess. He needs a tight end, so I would think he would take Taysom. Oh, he just took Jefferson. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. That's who I was going to take. I'm going to take this guy. Just make sure I get him. Give me Jared Goff. Man, I really wanted Van Jefferson. I think I'm just going to stay with Cam Akers then for the Rams. I'm not going to go after and get Stafford. I was going to go get Jefferson and Stafford. Is what I was thinking about doing. That's kind of off the table now, though. I really want Taysom Hill, but I really, I'm not going to take Taysom Hill this time. I do have Taysom Hill on a couple of teams already, so on these weekly. So I'm going to go a little bit different route here. Ish, kind of. A little bit of a different route. Will I see that guy on the way back? I don't know. I really need a running back, but I really want to get this tight end too. I want to get Gerald Everett, but I really need a running back though as well. I think I'm gonna go to the running back first. I'm gonna see, because he just took Gerald Everett anyway, so it doesn't even matter. So give me I think Bigsby. I was gonna go Gerald Everett with I was hoping maybe Everett or Bigsby would fall here, but he already took Everett, so I might as well just take Bigsby. I was probably gonna go Bigsby first anyway, because I really need a running back. That's unfortunate, man. Why would that guy take he took Everett because he's got Herbert. I'm gonna say, why would he take Everett? It's because he stole my quarterback, that's why. He doesn't have anybody else though. He doesn't have any other piece of the offense. He doesn't have Keenan. I got Keenan. The other guy's got Mike Williams. I also have Quentin Johnston, so it is what it is. I needed another guy to go with Lawrence, and Bigsby is down here to go with him, so potentially. And we also got Evan Ingram, obviously. I'm gonna wrap the stream up here in a little bit, like right after this draft is over. I gotta go to the gym, and then I gotta do some work tonight. Gosh, I know I was gonna put out that video for you guys. I have not worked on that video whatsoever at all. I might try to work on it whenever I come back from the gym, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Probably gonna get out and go work a little bit once I come back from the gym, but I'm gonna go to the gym probably immediately after this, so we will not be live again until maybe tomorrow at some point. Maybe go over some more news, or we'll do like a Q&A or something, and maybe go over some other information if something else pops up. So this is a weekly winner contest on Underdog. If you guys have not already, you guys can sign up for Underdog Fantasy Football and use code Smitty or the show. If you guys use code Smitty or the show, Smitty is another YouTuber. The show is also a promo code that they use on the Underdog Fantasy Football YouTube channel. If you use those codes whenever you first sign up, they will match up to $100 on your first deposit, and I believe it's also a $10 minimum deposit to use the code as well. But I do have the link down below in the description of the video for you guys to access the the link to sign up as well. But go ahead and use that promo code, either Smitty or the show, so you guys can achieve your $100 bonus match. If you guys, so basically, if you deposit $50, they'll match 50. If you deposit 100, they will match 100, but it's only up to $100. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I think Taysom Hill is still on the board here, which is pretty wild. Still on the board. So is Dalton Schultz. He's still on the board as well. I might be forced to take one of those guys if they are there still. Mingo's on the board. We don't have to have Mingo though. Looks like I'm gonna get one of these tight ends. I will get one of these tight ends probably, unless I choose to go a different route. I'm gonna take Dalton Schultz here. We could have taken Taysom Hill, but we're gonna take Dalton Schultz just because he's gonna play Jacksonville twice. And so I'd like to get obviously a little bit of Houston like I did during the last draft to match up against going up against you know, Jacksonville here, even though I don't have the pieces I want for Jacksonville, obviously, since we were trying to go Charger guys. Everything kind of just blew up in our face here during this draft just because we didn't get Herbert, so it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we did not get Justin Herbert in this draft. I've already got so much of Trevor Lawrence, I didn't really want to take him, but it's kind of forced to. It was either that or we were settling for late QBs. So Taysom Hill finally went. What does this guy have to go with Taysom Hill? I wonder if he has any pieces. Doesn't look like it. That's you know, that's a good thing. Who's got Olave? This guy right here. This guy should have taken him. Instead he took Higbee for some reason. How much you want to bet this guy's got Higbee, Van Jefferson? How much you want to bet this guy's trying to get I guarantee you this guy's trying to get Matt Stafford. How much you want to bet? Do I have any takers? Any takers that want to bet that? I think I should just snipe him. Should I snipe him? I think I'm gonna snipe him, dude, just to be that guy. I'm actually hoping somebody else takes him so I don't have to take Stafford. I don't really want to take him, but I'll take him. It doesn't matter to me. It don't matter to me. I'll take him. I don't care. F him. F him. We'll take him just to be that guy. Just to be that guy, we'll take him. Here it comes, baby. Snipe City. Snipe City. Oh, this guy's furious, bro. You know he's furious. He took Higbee, he took Jefferson. You know he was gonna take Stafford. You know he wanted to take Stafford.
Oh, well, better luck next year.
Better luck next year. Oh. What am I gonna do at the gym today? I know I did a little bit of chest yesterday. Maybe I'll do chest again. We have 4 more picks. Oh my goodness, these guys are taking forever. These guys are taking their sweet time with this draft. They're taking the full 30 seconds. Each pick. I did kind of promise to go over my sleeper league. I'm gonna go over it real quick. You know, it's an auction league on sleeper. We do an auction draft. You have $200 of basically salary to spend on players. I honestly can't wait. I may try to live stream it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really do live streams on the phone very often. Plus, I'm gonna have like my laptop and stuff there because we do it up at the golf course. But we do an auction league, and we don't really have we don't have an actual auctioneer guy there who rattles off the prices, but it's on the app or whatever. You have a time limit basically to bid on players, and the way it works, so it's 12-man league. We have you got me, and you got 11 other teams, and you have keepers that you can have. So this is our third year of doing the league. You can keep up the 3 players that were on your roster the year prior, but they have to be on your roster before the trade deadline, if that makes any sense. If they're a free agent, it costs you like $7 to keep them. Okay, if they're a free agent. And then if you keep a player that somebody drafted or you drafted or whoever drafted, it doesn't matter. As long as somebody drafted him, if you keep that player, then you keep them for $5 more than the value that they were drafted for the year prior, if that makes any sense. So like, for instance, I'm keeping Breece Hall this year. Okay. I didn't draft Breece Hall last year. Somebody drafted him for $30. I traded to get Breece Hall last year. So if I keep him this year, which as of right now, I am set to keep Breece Hall, he's going to be $35. He's going to be $30, which is what the guy drafted him for, plus the $5 extra to keep him. So it'd be $35 to keep somebody like Breece Hall, who's on my team. I just traded for Trevor Lawrence, who somebody drafted him for $1 last year. I traded AJ Brown to acquire Trevor Lawrence, so I will be keeping Trevor Lawrence for like $6 this year, which is pretty good value for a top 10 quarterback, to say the least. Let me see here. I'm gonna take, goodness gracious, we got the worst players to pick from here. I'm gonna take Curtis Samuel. Not a whole lot of guys on the board that I really want to take. So as of right now, like, my keepers are Trevor Lawrence, Chris Olave, and Breece Hall. I will be spending what, 16 to keep Olave, 6 to keep Trevor Lawrence, so that would be $22 plus another $35. I would be spending $57 to keep all 3 of my players. Not too bad. So that means I have $143 to play with to draft my remaining 12 players. We only have 15 players on our roster in this league, so it's one QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, a flex, a defense, and a kicker. And it's total points for the whole year. We don't do head-to-head matchups or anything like that. It's total points for the whole year. And we have kind of like a cartel where we play each week. Like each week you can win a certain amount of money based off how your team performs. And so it's kind of like a weekly contest and an overall contest. It's kind of 2 contests into one. And it all goes together or whatever at the end of the year. So yeah, I can't wait though. The draft is really fun. It's really fun. You have to bid at least $1 on one of your players. So like, say I have 100. So let's just say, like, let's take my example. I have $143 to play with to draft 12 players. I have to spend at least $1 on each of those players. So that means there's only like $133 that I can spend on one player. If that makes any sense. Like if I was gonna bid on a player, I couldn't bid all $143 that I have left, because I would have to use $1 for every single position I need to fill, which is 12 guys, because I already have 3 keepers, right? So that's kind of how it works. So no matter what, so if you have 15 spots you got to fill, you have to be able to at least bid $1 on each of those players, if that makes any sense. So It's super fun. I don't know if I'm gonna stream it or not. You know, I'm gonna have to figure that out because I don't really do streams on my phone and stuff like that. So I would have to figure out like what to do. I wouldn't even know what to do, to be honest. God, this is terrible. This is terrible to pick from. This is terrible to pick from. I'm just gonna take this guy, dude. I really don't care at this point. I really don't care about this team at this point. This team's kind of... I've already got the pieces I need for the most part. I'm gonna go... I need to get some guys that are super late here that are... We might take this guy. Where is my running back at? Yeah, let's go to these two guys right here. Do we have 2 picks left? Yeah, we do. Let's go to those 2 guys right there. Whatever. Go those 2 guys and call it good. Let me pull this over here. So, actually, let's just go full screen here. So we got so these are like my keepers right here. I can only see my keepers. I don't know who everybody else's keepers are. Our keepers lock in on August 22nd, and then we draft on August 5th. We literally draft 2 days before the season starts, before the Lions Chiefs game on Thursday night. So everybody has all the information and they know who's not playing, who's holding out, who's injured, everything. So we always do our drafts like the week of. That way there's no excuses on, you know, oh, we didn't know that guy was hurt, this and that, you know. And so I will say, like in my league, I can pull this up real quick, because I actually have this down on a spreadsheet. So if I pull this over here, so like on... So currently, like on my team, we got, you know, technically this is what I have. I have Trevor Lawrence, Breece Hall, Olave. This is kind of up for grabs. I don't know if this guy's going to keep Jacobs. Right now, I can probably say he's not going to. So if he did keep somebody, this would be it. Actually, this would be right here. I think this will be Christian Watson. So this guy will probably be keeping Christian Watson. This will be like a $7 keeper. So he's going to have about $152 to play with if that's the case. I think this is who this is. This guy's going to keep right here. Fields, Stevenson, DK. And then we got probably Jalen Hurts, Nick Chubb, Tyreek Hill right here. This guy's not going to be able to keep anybody. He's a new player. He's taking over for somebody else who got out of the league. This guy's probably going to keep Joe Burrow, Pollard, and AJ Brown. I traded this guy AJ Brown for Trevor Lawrence. He had Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow on his team. Oh, we're on the clock. Or no, we're not on the clock. This guy's probably keeping Cooper, Watson, ETN. We don't know though. He may not keep one of these guys. I'm not for sure. Or we're on the clock. I'm taking Josh Reynolds, just so you guys know. Another Detroit guy. This guy's got Jefferson, Chase, and Wilson. He's obviously got a really good team. He didn't perform very well last year, but he's got a good base of receivers right here. This guy I'm not too sure about. If I had to pick 3 keepers, this is who he would keep. Now, like in my league, you don't have to keep 3 players. You're not required to keep 3 players. You can keep up to 3 players, but you can only keep 1 if you want to. If you only want to keep 2, you can only keep 2. If you don't want to keep anybody, you don't have to keep anybody at all. This guy I'm not sure about. I only have him keeping these 2 guys, but he may not keep... He may not keep Barkley for $62, especially if he holds out a little bit here. You might be a little skeptical of him. I have this guy keeping Lamar Jackson, McCaffrey, Diggs. I don't know if this is who he's keeping, but I have it on good word that I heard that this is who he's keeping, which if that's the case, he's going to have like $55 to play with, which is not a whole lot of money in the auction league. but that's because McCaffrey's expensive, and so is Diggs. Diggs is a little bit expensive as well. McCaffrey's $74, so if you wanted to keep him, this would be his second year of keeping him. So 2 years ago he went for $64, and then I think this is who this guy would keep. But well, like I said, I'll come back to this with you guys and go over like these guys in my league and see who they're keeping, this and that. And obviously I have I have my rankings here. I have projected values for these guys. I haven't really touched the projected values. I'm gonna look and see what the projected values are on some other sites and compare and contrast with what I think they should be, and I'll kind of update these projections at some point in time. We're back on the clock. I'm gonna take Josh Kelly. So that's who I ended up taking. Here's the final look at the team right here. So we got Josh Reynolds, Josh Kelly right here's our last two picks, and that is going to wrap up this weekly winners draft. And like I said, we're going to go over some of the projections for auction though a little bit later down the line, like maybe in like a week or two. I need to update my projections a little bit and see. I don't think they're going to change really much of where they're at right now. I will say I don't think it's going to change too much. Let me go back to the full screen here. So I think for the most part, it's, where I have it at is where I kind of, I did these a while ago, back in like April, these projections, but I'm going to update it a little bit based off recent events, based off how people are, how the public is feeling about some of these players that, we're kind of getting, because the auction's obviously a little bit different than redraft and stuff. You're talking about dollar value on a player, based off about, I think most auction leagues are based off about $200 salary. So, and I do have a little bit of, I didn't really go over my tight end rankings much. And then obviously the kickers go for pretty cheap, to be honest. So we don't even really need to go over those guys. But like I said, I'll update these values. We'll go over the projections for dollar values on auction players. And, we might adjust the rankings a little bit as well. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this stream. I'm going to go ahead and log off. I got to get to the gym. We'll talk about Barkley and Jacobs and Pollard later on in this week. And if you guys have any questions leading into training camp about any of these players or other players like receivers, quarterbacks, anything else that we have that comes down the line in terms of the news cycle, we'll talk about it and we can go over it. So with that being said, I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you guys maybe tomorrow or a little bit later this week. I'm going to try to work on a video for our first draft after the DeAndre Hopkins trade, and we'll try to have that out by like Wednesday at the latest. So you guys have a good one. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. So we will catch you guys later this week, tomorrow or Wednesday probably. So I am out of here. You guys have a good one. I see a couple of you guys are in here. If you guys have any questions, let me know right now. I can answer it for you guys real quick. I will put your comment up on the screen and I will answer it if you guys have any questions about just anything. If you guys want to know about Jacobs or Pollard or Barkley, I went over those guys at the beginning of the stream, so just rewind back. But if you guys have any questions right now, I will answer them real quick before I jump off of here.